Morning, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Love 500 and welcome back to Project Dickie. What is this, day 2 I think, isn't it? Yeah, day 2. Been a bit of a gap between day 1 and day 2 and between the walk around and day 1, just because of getting other projects finished. So Project 2 Minty was sold yesterday, that's gone. We're now concentrating on this one, because this is, apart from Project Pearl, which I'm going to sell off cheap on eBay, this is the only project I've got left. So I'm going to be starting to look for another project next week. But we got quite a bit to do on this still. No bodywork stuff as such, but let's quickly go through what we're going to do today on this car. Welcome again to Project Dickie. Okay, so I have given in to popular demand that I take these stripes off. A lot of you have said, take them off, they look like they've been put on by a blind person, or words to that effect. This side's not too bad actually, it's a bit iffy there. It's the other side that's the worst. I guess they did this side second. But also, of course, for whatever reason, unless this has had wings, new wings both sides, is of course those lines should continue along the wing. So I don't know why they did that, why they didn't do that rather. I do have to say, remember those ones I put on a car before? These are the better ones. So these ones sort of go shaped around here, whereas the ones I had before were just in a straight line, and also the ones I had before just went straight across there, whereas these are separate pieces. So these are better than the ones I bought before, which were quite cheap but not as good. They looked alright, but I think with the back bit, especially where it sort of curves around the natural curve of the car, these ones look better because they're not just in a straight line. But this one is as, yeah, peed as a what's it. Yeah, not good. This bit's that bit's the worst bit. I mean, I could potentially try and get that off. I'd never get it off in one piece. I'm not going to bother putting new ones back on. What I'm going to do, I think I've got some of the flags for the things for the wings where I took off, so I'll put some of those on. But yeah, that's one of the jobs for today. The other job for today, as you can see, the weather hasn't much improved since yesterday, which was the last day of Project 2 Minty. Although showers today, but at the moment we've got some blue sky up there, so I'm hoping it'll hold off. So my main plan for today is to get the seats out, get the seats cleaned, and then get them indoors. My wife's at work today, so I'm going to take advantage of that by cleaning the seats and putting them in, rather than just putting them in the conservatory to dry, I'm going to take them in the living room and put them right in front of the radiator to dry. I don't suppose they'll dry by the end of the day, but I'll get them out of there obviously before she comes home from work. But if I might do, depending on how well they dry, I'll get them in the car. Because obviously the car is not in the middle of the driveway, but by the end of the day I need to get it moved over. So I could put my little stall on the floor. I've done that before and drive the car like that. But ideally I'll get the seats back in by the end of the day. Even if they're not completely dry, at least they'll hopefully be relatively dry. I'll make sure I go over them and over and over them to try and get as much liquid out as I can. Once we've done those and they're indoors drying, I don't think the carpet's going to need a wet clean. Obviously this time of the year I want to try and avoid that if possible, because I'll never get the damn thing dry. Although I do, as I've said before, need to get a high dehumidifier. The other thing whilst the seats are out I'm going to do, which makes it easier, is I am going to get that Blue and Me unit out, because we got a good Blue and Me unit in there, which connects to the car, connects to multi-ECU scan and so on and so forth. So as far as I'm aware, it's a good one, because we don't need it because we've got this stereo, and we always need those Blue and Me units, as you know, because we often get cars that they go in. Project 2 Minty being a prime example, I had to spend £116 getting a new one. So if I've got a spare, that's even better, isn't it? And I don't need it in this car. So that's the plan for today. I don't know how much else I'll get done. It depends on the weather really, because they do give showers today. In fact, there are some black clouds moving around. I have actually got to go out now. I've got to take my daughter to the hairdressers. Got to drive her because it's two buses in about an hour. So I said I'll drive her. The buyer of this car, well, prospective buyer of this car, has only seen one photograph of it. Again, keeps messaging me. I've told her that I'm going to hope to get some photographs over to her today. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take some photographs of the car now and say to her, stripes coming off, seats coming out, blah, blah, blah. This is before it's finished, so she just wants to see it. She's seen one photo of the outside. She may hate the red seats. If that's the case, I will charge her £200 extra if she wants them. I've got a set of seats which I was going to put out there in the Pearl car, which I'm not going to do now because I'm not going to do the Pearl car. So I could, in theory, swap them over. If she says, I hate the red seats. Again, if it's a deal breaker, I'll swap them over. They need a clean as well, so that will be a double clean that will need doing. But, you know, if that's the case, that's the case. Although, I don't have door cards for that. And I couldn't leave these door cards in. So I would have to do something about that. Potentially swap these seats into project. Yeah, but then I'm taking... See, those seats have got fag burns, haven't they? So I wouldn't really want to do that. Let's hope that's not the case. Otherwise, she'll have to pay for a set of door cards, if that's what she wants. But we'll see. Anyway, that's it for the time being. So as soon as I get back from taking my daughter, we'll set you up on time lapse, and we'll get these seats out, get them cleaned, and then move on to the interior and get that blue and me out. So I will see you, for you, in a few seconds, for me in about an hour. Right, that's that done. I was interrupted, you may have seen in the video, my mate came round for a coffee, so I didn't even know he was coming. He had messaged me, but I hadn't seen the message, so I finished the front seats off while he was here, and I've just done these ones. I haven't touched the carpet yet. It's not really dirty, to be honest. Just a good hoover will suffice on that. It doesn't need wet vacuuming at all. So I've done the armrests as well, both sides. I actually quite often forget that. Can't get in the boot because I've got the battery detached, but I've put the seat down. It doesn't actually need doing, the boot carpet. I have done the mats which were in the boot. There, I'll put those out in the back garden just to dry off. The seats are all indoors with the heating on right up against the radiator, so they hopefully will dry off enough for me to put them back in later on this afternoon. I just wanted to get this done as soon as possible so I'll get half a chance to get it all back in again. So I'll leave all the doors open, and obviously I'm not going to do this floor just yet, because what I'm going to do now is which is obviously makes it a lot easier to get to. Oh, I need to empty that machine and put that away. I'm going to take the panel off, and I'm going to take the Blue and Me unit out. Now I think probably once I've done that, I think it's most likely that the mileage is going to flash, because it will be looking for that Blue and Me unit. Even though it's not using the Blue and Me unit, there is potentially it won't work. So I'm going to take a chance that I can do a proxy alignment and the steering wheel buttons will still work. Now there is a way, and I need to look it up how to do it, and I can't remember. In multi-ECU scan, there is a way of changing the buttons, because sometimes I think if you disconnect your Blue and Me unit, it stops your buttons working. But you can, in multi-ECU scan, you can change the program of the buttons. I think it's something like from 8 buttons to 4 or 8 buttons to 6 or something like that, which will obviously disable the voice buttons, but volume and source and all that still works. And of course they're working at the moment, so I'm hoping if I need to do that, I can find it online somewhere. I think I did see it once before and I took some screenshots of it. So I'm hoping I can find it, but it may not be needed, but it might be. If it comes to it and I can't do that, I will have to put the Blue and Me back in again, but I don't think it will come to that. I think it will be okay. So I will set you up on time lapse once again, and we will get this Blue and Me unit out. That's that, done. A lot of time lapse today, more than usual, but then I've done things today that I wouldn't do on, obviously do on normal. So the only thing I've got left to do on the inside, I have made that, that carpet a little bit dirty there, so as much as I won't be wet cleaning it, I will go over it and give it a scrub with that foam spray stuff. I might even just use G101 on it, or elbow grease even. So that's all put back together. Made some dirty marks on there, but I'll be cleaning those off anyway. That's not quite pushed home properly. Oh, the clips come out, I'll sort that out. Yeah, so I had to put a new one of those on because it was broken, but now that this one I've used won't go on, so I'm going to have to put a bit of stickiness on there to hold it in place, a bit of double-sided tape or something. As you saw on time lapse, I sprayed lashings of WD-40 all over the end of that bolt, and it was a bit difficult to start with, but it came out eventually and came out nice and cleanly. Touch wood. Where's some wood? I'm not that superstitious, but touch wood. I haven't broken one of those since I've been doing that with the WD-40. Someone did say on, I think it was on Facebook, or it might have been on the channel, I can't remember, that what they did is they cut a chunk out down there so they didn't have to undo that bolt. That's actually quite a good idea. I won't do it because I always take them out, but I think for someone who's doing it, who's never done it before, potentially hasn't got an impact gun, which you really do need to do it and get it out in one piece, it's actually quite a good idea. Use a multi-tool and just cut around it. It doesn't really matter. But that's all. I cleaned that while I was at it. I will clean the other side as well. But I'm going to give this a hoover now. I'm not going to bother filming me hoovering. But I'll get that all clean on the inside, and we'll go in and have some lunch. We are lucky that we've still got sun. It's almost a blue sky. And then what we'll do is we will come back out. Obviously, it's going to be a while before the seats are dry and ready to get in. I will leave that till last thing. But what I'm going to do after I've had some lunch is take these stripes off. As I say, I have succumbed to what some of you have been saying to me, and I'm going to take them off. I think it's best, don't you? I even told the lady, I sent the lady some photos this morning, whose 17-year-old daughter wants the car. She said she absolutely loves the car. She hasn't seen it in the flesh, of course, but I've shown her. And she didn't say, oh, she doesn't like the red seats, which is always good. So, yeah, onwards and upwards. We will, at least we haven't got to take them off the wing because they're not on there. But as I say, I think I've got some of the little flag things there, so I will put some of those on. If not, I'll get some. So that's the main things to do on this. I've got to service it, which I'll probably do, possibly do tomorrow. I've taken an extra day off tomorrow because I'm going out with some of the lads late tomorrow afternoon. So I thought I'd take the day off, as you do. Night down Weatherspoons. So yeah, we've done the MOT, haven't we? It's already MOT, done last week, wasn't it? Yeah, which is good. So that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. And as I say, then later on this afternoon, I will try and get the seats back in if I can. I might even, as it's sunny, I might even put them in the conservatory. They might dry better there than they would do in front of the radiator because the heating's probably gone off now. But yeah, I'll see you after I've had some lunch and we get this done. And we'll do my method, which I'll explain later, which some of you already know. I call it pour and pull with a trademark sign at the end. Don't use a hairdryer. Don't use a heat gun. Yeah, I use hot boiling water out of the kettle. Always done it like that. I've tried it all the ways under the sun, and to me, as far as I'm concerned, the kettle is the best way. But we will be back after lunch to do it. Right, so we are going to do this, as I said before, with a kettle. Not a hairdryer. Not a heat gun, but with a kettle full of water. So say, I call this pour and pull. So we warm it up first. We get an edge using a fingernail. Once you can get a piece to get hold of, some more boiling water over it. Now this usually comes off relatively cleanly. So what we do is we pour and we pull. Once we get hold of a little bit, so we don't want to pour boiling water over our fingers. There we go. Once you get it started, you just pull it and pour water. So it starts to stretch like it's going to break. Just move your fingers further up, closer to it. As long as you don't pour the water over your fingers, which would be very silly, then you're not going to burn yourself. So it's leaving a tiny little bit of glue at the top, which will obviously come off with some sticky stuff remover. So pour and pull. This is why I call it pour and pull. Obviously it slows you down a little bit because you've got to keep going and filling the kettle up. Now, you could at this point, I suppose, you could probably do it. I just do not have much luck with heat gun. I think it's much better doing it this way. And it helps, and it lubricates it as well, of course, being water. See how quick it is? Open the door. Pour all that final bit over, and there it is, off. There you go. That's that bit done. Just show you again on here. So we pour water over it all the way, just to warm it up, soften it up. And I've probably not got enough water in the kettle now to... This is actually coming off quite easily, this bit. Don't even think I might even need... But we will do it anyway, usual way. Mirror gets in the way a little bit there. So there we go, pour. So it starts to stretch. So you grab it further up. Just be careful not to pour it over your hands. I mean, I've used the hot gun, heat gun method before, and I burnt my fingers straight away. This is much easier. I've never burnt my fingers doing it this way. I should do a how-to video, shouldn't I, on how to remove stripes. These are probably easier to remove as they're aftermarket ones, and they look quite new. I don't reckon they've been on here long. But they come off just as well with the factory ones as well, which I've taken off before, as you've probably seen, because they fade. So these look virtually brand new, these ones. Just open the door, get in on that edge. Just get that last little edge. There you go, done. So I might just about have enough to do that front bit, and then we'll do the little bits at the edge, at the end, at the back. So let's just do this one last little bit on camera, and then we'll just get on and do it. So warm it up, get it started. Actually, you can do that in one go. Just pour a little bit on there, which will hopefully pull it off, because it's wrapped around the door. It should just pull out. There you go. That's that. So it's just a little bit of glue that's got to come off, that's all. Might be a little bit of discoloration underneath, possibly, tiny bit, nothing much. So let's just get these ones off. Oh, someone's got either a bonfire. Not got much water left here, so once they're warmed up though, as soon as they're only little bits, they'll probably just come straight off. As long as you can get them started. There you go. One. Let's get a bit more. So this is the quickest ever. I've never done it this quick. But as I say, because they're probably not, because they're not baked on by the sun. They don't look like they've been on there very long. It's a shame they're crooked. I could have put some more on, but unnecessary cost, really. That's it. So as I say, as you can see, you can just see a little bit there where the little bit of glue, but once I get the old sticky stuff remover on that, that'll come straight off. So I'm going to go and boil another kettle, do the other side. Once we've done that, we'll get the sticky stuff out, and then that'll be it on that. Didn't take long, did it? There you go. Gone. Very, very lightly went over with the auto glim tile remover, and it just came off. No sign of it now. No faded paint. I thought there was, but I think it was just where it was outlined with bits of glue. Same on the other side, completely gone. Looks better actually, I think, without the stripes, to be honest. I've been when I was taking the Blue and Me out, I've been having a fiddle with this. Now this isn't ideal, but I can't think of another way of doing it. The only other way of doing this would be to feed it. So it's obviously coming from the number plate, it's coming down here, it's pushed in here, into the glass, and then there. So the only other way of doing it would be to take it down this channel and bring it out here. But that would be I mean, I have got some rods, but that would mean disconnecting it, cutting it, a bit of a pain. So as much as I don't want to, I'm going to leave it like that. It's a shame. It's a shame it was done like that. Had I done that, I never actually thought about it, because I always put them in the bumper, of which, of course, it's easy to just route it. But because it's here, obviously you've got to get it from here somehow down there, and the only way to get it into the car will be through there. Now that's relatively tight in there. I mean, you probably could do it, but they've obviously done it like that for ease. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but I'm going to leave it because it's too much hassle to do that. As I say, I have got rods. I could possibly get it down there using a push rod with the cable tied to it. But if I was doing it from scratch, so if I do one, I might actually use these in future, because it's actually quite good. I think it's probably better than having it in the bumper. It's at the right sort of height, isn't it? But I will, if I do one, I will route it down here somehow, and then have it coming out into there and then going. There's plenty of cable. You certainly wouldn't run out of cable, that's for sure. They're always, I think I can't remember how long they are now. They're something like 5 metres. They're quite long, maybe 3 metres. They are quite long, but yeah. Not happy leaving it, but I'm going to leave it. So we are now at the stage really that we want to get the seats back in. I'm just going to clean these plastics here, clean that plastic over there, which I haven't done yet. I don't want to get them back in yet because they're still wet indoors. The seat base is dry-ish, and the passenger seat is quite dry. I was able to obviously flip the seat up, put it against the radiator, and that's helped dry that off. But the driver's seat is quite wet still, so I'm going to leave it a little bit longer, maybe another hour, before I put them in. And until I do that and I put the power back on, I obviously can't do that stereo because I want to try and get that out if I can. I'm going to rake out the dash cam, and I'm hoping if I can get that stereo out of there, I can then place the dash cam, wire the dash cam in. It's got the program for the dash cam, so I know I can have a dash cam, and so there's quite clearly going to be an input for it, but it's whether I can actually route it through or not. I might have to take the tray out to get to it, but yeah, that's the plan. So I think we'll have to leave it for the time being, and we'll come back later on when we get these seats back in. And I think then tomorrow, let me just get the bonnet up. Tomorrow I'm going to service it. I'm going to order a new battery tonight. I don't want to leave that battery on because it's the wrong one. So I'll order a new battery from Tanar. That'll come in a couple of days. Might even come tomorrow. No, it probably won't come tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow will be service. I think I'll have to look back, but I think I've already changed the air filter. I often do that when I'm piddling around, you know. I'll change the air filter anyway. But the oil filter and the oil change will come tomorrow. I've already got all those. I keep oil and filters all in stock. I've got several in my little store of. Oh, there's a nut there. I know where that came off. If I it came off of there, I put a fresh one on. Get rid of that. Throw it away. I always put new ones on there. And then obviously we'll clean the engine as well once we've done the service. And apart from sorting out that stereo, dash cam, etc., and the other thing might try and do this afternoon. I remember I said I'm going to clean that up and get some of that rust converter stuff on it, and then put some paint on it. I just want to sort of prevent it getting any worse than it is, because it's not very pretty. So I'll do that, and then what I'll do is I won't even mask it off. I suppose I'll put something there, sort of a piece of paper there or something. I'll just over it, just to tidy it up. And obviously with the rust preventer stuff, I've got the Genelite, I think it is. I've got that already, so I can just paint some of that on. I think you have to leave it like an hour, or I can't remember now, till it goes off. But I need to clean it up first, so we'll do that as well. I'll do that actually whilst we're waiting for the seats to dry. Might as well, whilst we've got daylight, I might as well get it done. So I will be back shortly. I'll show you what I've done with the Genelite and so on. Not going to wire. Shall I wire brush it? Maybe I will give it a light wire brush. I might use some brake cleaner on it as well to clean it. Or shall I just use some elbow grease? That's a degreasant. So no, I use elbow grease on it actually. And then we'll get the Genelite on it. So yeah, I'll be back shortly. Right, unfortunately the heavens have opened. I've managed to get the Genelite painted on. You have to leave it 3 hours before you paint, so obviously that's not going to be till tomorrow. So it just tidies it up, doesn't it? And it prevents the rust getting any worse. But yeah, rain stops play, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll stop. This is meant to be showers. It's not meant to be. Well, it's been nice all day, so. Yeah, hopefully it will stop and I can get the seats. Well, I have to get the seats back in because I can't leave the car in the middle of the drive. As I say, if I have to, I've done it before. I can use me sit on my stool in the car. I heard say I've done that before, but not ideal. I'd like to get the seats in, even though I've got to sit on a wet seat. I think I've got a seat cover there. Yeah, I have. But that's my daughter saying, "Put the kettle on." Can you put the kettle on, please? Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, she's just been to the hairdressers. I dropped her off at the hairdressers at 10 o'clock this morning. It is now 10 to 3. She's been there all that time. Can you believe it? Be interesting to see her hair. Hopefully it's not getting wet in all this rain. I hope she's got an umbrella with her. So I dread to think how much she's just spent. Anyway, enough about this. Is not Love Hairdressers. It is a hairdresser's car, of course, Fiat 500. Anyway, yes, so it's raining. I will be back when it stopped. We'll get these seats back in. So I'll catch up with you very soon, hopefully. Right, seats are back in. I've not done the bolts up on the bench seat at the back because the bottom of those seats is a little bit wet still, so I've just left it pulled forward a little bit. I've got the heater in there again at the minute. Passenger seat's quite dry, driver's seat's still a bit wet, but As you can see, it's steaming up in there, but we'll dry it off with that for a little while. As you can see, I have put the Italian little badge, the Italian flag badge on the wings. I think that's a nicer, subtle thing rather than the stripes down the side. I think it looks much better without, to be honest. I'm sure you'll agree. I do like the Italian stripes, and I've put them on before, as you know. And I wouldn't normally have taken them off. It was only because they were crooked, and I bowed to your pressure. A lot of you said take them off. So, as much as I liked them, they were wonky, so they had to come off. Anyway, yeah. So seats. Let's let the warm air. So I got the heater going just to dry it off a bit more. So they're nice and clean. There might be the tiny little bits. I've got to go over these bits. There might be some little bits on there that needed going over again, but generally they're pretty damn clean actually. They're still sopping wet. Don't know why. It's probably because no sun. Well, I say no sun. There's no warmth in the sun even when the sun's out. At least we've got blue sky again now, which is good. So obviously that one on there. Yeah, it's all looking good. It's all looking good. So battery's reconnected. I haven't tried stereo yet. I'm going to try that in a minute. I'm going to do that tomorrow to see if we can get it out. I'm not going to do that today, but I am going to go and try it and make sure the steering wheel controls still work. And if not, and whether the mileage is flashing, which I think it will be, in which case I'll have to get multi-ECU scan hooked up. And as I said earlier, I may have to edit those buttons if I can find the instructions on how to do them. As I say, I've got them somewhere, but I'm not going to do that until, I'm not going to do any of that until tomorrow, because it means I've got to sit on a wet seat. So I'm just going to put a seat cover on to get the car back on the drive. Yeah, but coming along nicely, isn't it? Service tomorrow. So once the service is done, once it's been given a clean, the seats are dried, we've sorted the stereo out, hopefully we'll put a dash cam in there as well. I think we're all done. I think it's done. I think it will be, potentially, this could be ready next week. Hopefully. So I just had a delivery from AliExpress. As you can see, these are the wheel arch, the DRL wheel arch access covers. Always get the cars where they're missing, and I had to steal one off of, I think actually I might have stolen it off this car, can't remember now, for the green one yesterday, for the minty one. And I'm about to drop these. I bought 20 of them last time. Only bought 10 this time. I bought 20 of them last time from AliExpress, and they got seized at customs for some bizarre reason, so they refunded me. So I bought 10 this time. That'll last me a little while. Not often got them all missing, but yeah, at least they've arrived this time, which is good. So I just wanted to show you something else. You know, some of my subscribers who have been here in the past, who've come over to whether it buy a part on eBay or they've come over for me to do a proxy alignment or something like that, have, as a thank you, have bought me some beer. I don't charge people for proxy alignments and what have you, and a couple of people, I would say, have bought me beer. And JT500_salvage, who is one of my followers on YouTube and Instagram, JT500_salvage is his Instagram name. He saw my plight with the trying to get the hub off of the drive shaft the other day, and I mentioned that the mechanic had said to me, have I got a copper hammer, and I didn't. He's very kindly sent me one. It's an old one, that end of it is mullered, but yeah, he sent it to me in the post by recorded delivery, and that arrived yesterday. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. That will come in handy for the next time I have to do one of those. So yeah, JT500_salvage. He repairs Cat Ns and stolen recovered cars. Very similar to me, but I do Cat S's as well. Yeah, check out his Instagram. I will put a screenshot up of it now. I know some of you follow him, because some of the followers that I know, we have mutual followers. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Really appreciated. One more thing I just wanted to say about delivery. So yeah, we were talking about delivery the other day, or I was, and a couple of messages from people who do the deliveries, and they were thanking me for talking about it and bringing it to the forefront. I just wanted to add something extra to it, which I hadn't actually thought of at the time, but I've now thought of it, so I'm going to talk about it briefly, only very briefly. So, as I talked about, you know, it's not until you drive these distances. When I delivered the 500X to Bristol, didn't realise 160 miles, 3 hours, whatever it was it took me to get there. Hit some traffic a couple of times, then got the train back for me. But of course, we moan about how much we're being charged, which we went over before. You know, and say until you drive it, you don't realise just how long, how far it is, and of course the fuel that they're using. Of course, they're using diesel because they've got trucks which are diesel. What I failed to mention, and which I never even really thought about, was the fact that unless they live right on top of that site, i.e. Bristol. So Bristol, Jamie, who lives down near Sandwich, who does my sandwich runs for £110, he will do a Bristol run for me for 220. Now, okay, often they will try and match taking a car that way and then pick yours up. Often they can't do that. So they are basically going from Sandwich, or that sort of area where he lives, all the way to Bristol, and then all the way back to me. So not only is he doing the 160 miles from Bristol, he's doing plus that and a bit more to get there in the first place for 220 quid. So never complain. So just think about that. And I know that the fellow who lives up north, who does my more northerly ones, I'm not quite sure where he lives, but he will do the Sandtoft one for me. I mean, Sandtoft is a long way away, a long way away. And Peterlee is even further. And I've bought cars from Peterlee. I bought one car, which was the white Abarth. That came from Chester. Now, I had a nightmare with that delivery, absolute nightmare. But just think about that when you're booking people to transport your cars for you. They're not just coming from that site, they've got to get there as well. That's all I wanted to say. Back to the car. Yeah, so I think we're going to call it a day on this today, actually. I think we might call it a day on this video, actually. I'm not sure if we've got enough in the can for a video. If not, I will continue. But otherwise, we'll call it a day on this. So what we've got left to do? I think we've just gone over that, haven't we? Final clean up on the inside. Final clean up on the outside. Clean the wheels. It's already MOT'd. Service tomorrow, hopefully, weather permitting. Sort out that webcam. Make sure that stereo works with no Blue and Me in it. Little bits and pieces, maybe proxy alignment, etc., etc. Clean the engine bay. Finish off that I've put that rust stuff. Excuse me. I've put that rust stuff on. We'll leave that until tomorrow, and we'll get some paint on that as well. And then the car will be done, and we'll do that in the next video. So that next video will be the last video on this car. Only been a short video. I mean, it was a previously repaired car, wasn't it? So it's been a clean up service and a little bit of jiggery pokery, isn't it, to bring it up to scratch of what it should have been. But it's a BCA car, isn't it? And it's a really good BCA car, really good BCA car. Once this car's done, that's it. I've got no projects left apart from that other thing, the Pearl thing, which I'm going to knock out cheap once I've tarted it up a little bit. So we're going to be next week. We're going to be looking for another project, or maybe even the rest of this week. So that's it. As always, don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, hit the button, subscribe to the channel, and give us a thumbs up. And we'll be back on this car next week for you. So until then, thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe, and we will see you very soon.